All right, let's get moving. All right, this is working. I think everything is working. All right, so what's the purpose of the water tower?
Increase the pressure inside the water.
Yeah, the whole idea behind the water tower is to generate water pressure at the faucet, right? So will this provide the maximum amount of pressure at the faucet with the least amount of water? Is this the most efficient shape? So that's what we are investigating. All right, so going back to the Diet Coke versus regular Coke. Regular Coke, when placed in the water, it's gonna stay at the bottom. Diet Coke, when released, is gonna float to the surface. All right, so the question is, given the fact that both of them are 12 ounces, and given the fact that both of them have the same volume, why then the Diet Coke is the one that floats to the surface? And you guys said because it's less dense. I said, if they have the same mass, if they have the same weight, and if they have the same mass, if they have the same volume, how would the water know that one of them is actually less dense than the other one and just push it in the opposite direction? And you guys didn't come up with an answer for that one. All right, so we talked about bends. What are bends?
When your blood starts to boil because of the difference in pressure.
Okay, very good. When the outside pressure is suddenly reduced, you will experience bends usually, which means that the blood in your bodily fluids is gonna start to form bubbles. That in turn is gonna paralyze the muscles. In the worst case scenario, it can paralyze the internal organs. So it can cause you to die, it can kill you. All right, so let's go over the basic definitions. What's density?
It's the quantity of mass per unit volume.
Okay, very good. It's the quantity of mass per unit volume. That's mass per volume. Speaking of densities, question number 2, which one is denser, carbon dioxide or air?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide is going to be denser than air. I gave you a bunch of numbers, so let's just go over the numbers. Air is roughly about 1. Carbon dioxide is roughly about 2. So we got water, it's about 1,000. Concrete, 2,000. Steel, 8,000. And gold is about 20,000, right? All right, so what's pressure?
It's the force per unit area.
All right, that's the amount of force per unit area. What's the proper unit?
Pascals.
All right, the proper unit is Pascal, or it's newtons per square meters. Pascal is what we use generally. All right. Question number 4, why is it recommended that if you find yourself in a falling elevator, you should immediately lie down on the floor?
To reduce the pressure.
Very good. So you want to disperse the impact force onto a larger surface area. Thereby, you reduce the pressure. Question number 5, what's atmospheric pressure and what causes it?
It's the pressure caused by the weight of the air on top
Okay,
of us.
very good. What causes it is the weight of the air acting on your body. So the atmospheric pressure is the pressure generated by the weight of the atmosphere. Question number 6. So there's roughly about a 15 pounds of square inch of pressure around us, right? 15 pounds per square inch. Why do we not implode?
Because the internal pressure and external pressure are the same.
Okay, very good. Internal and the external pressures are equalized. So because the internal and the external pressures are the same, not only do we not implode, we don't even feel it. All right, so we talked about the meaning of bends. It's called bends because you would be bent double in pain. The sort of pain that you would experience is a feeling of feelings boiling from inside out, right under the skin. It can paralyze the muscles as well as the internal organs. All right, so this brings us to the next point. So what would happen to you if you were exposed to the full vacuum of space without any protective spacesuit?
The lungs would collapse. It would cause extreme bends. The blood would boil in the veins, and internal organs would go into seizure. And
I'm gonna give you 10 points for that one. You covered everything. Yeah, you would experience extreme bends. Eventually, it would kill you, right? All right. So, what's static fluid pressure, and what causes it?
it's the weight of the fluid up above.
Okay, very good. Static fluid pressure is the weight of the fluid up above. So, deeper you go, larger the pressure is. All right, so let's finish this up. Ooh. Over here. Okay. So we talked about bends. Okay, so deeper you go, the larger the pressure is going to be.
Not all records take place on dry land. Some are broken deep beneath the ocean. You can easily black out and drown before safety divers reach you.
That was exposed to about 14 atmospheric pressure. It comes back up without experiencing any bends. All right, so we have seen this one.
It's one of the most terrifying things that can ever happen to a driver in a car. Would you have any idea what to do if you were sinking in a two-ton?
Okay, so there was a discussion that we were having. Let's get back to the discussion. And it's evidently. All right, so it was regarding this guy.
On the 66th anniversary of Houdini's death, escape artist Bill Shirk prepares to be buried alive under 7 tons of wet mud and concrete, while handcuffed and chained in a plexiglass coffin.
I had an eerie feeling within my heart that this was one maybe I wasn't going to be bringing Bill out alive.
But as the concrete is being poured over the coffin, something goes wrong.
I just didn't like anything about this stunt from the time we started.
The plastic coffin collapses, pinning Bill under tons of mud and concrete. 2 years earlier, on the anniversary of Houdini's death, escape artist Joe Burris attempted the same stunt, but it ended tragically when his coffin also collapsed, suffocating him in front of a large crowd of onlookers. Now, Bill Shirk is trapped, gasping for air, as each precious moment draws his life closer to an end. The weight of the wet earth and concrete is too much for the plexiglass coffin to bear.
And then all of a sudden it started creaking and creaking and cracking and cracking, and boom.
The coffin shatters. Bill is stuck beneath it. He tries to escape.
I really felt that things were going wrong with our radio communications between Bill and I. It actually broke.
Suffocating under the crushing weight, there is no way out.
I could not break through.
As precious seconds tick away, a backhoe is brought in to dig Bill out of his cement grave.
Personally, I thought I was going to have to be digging up a corpse.
Fearing the worst, Bill's stunt coordinator jumps into the pit, digging frantically, searching for any sign of life. Bill's hand emerges, but seems lifeless. It is feared that he has died. Crew members pull Bill from his concrete tomb and struggle to revive him.
Well, I was actually underground with a collapse for over 22 minutes, where basically everybody in the world thought I was dead.
Miraculously, Bill survives his agonizing ordeal.
Just the sheer weight of
struggle to revive him.
Well, I was actually underground with a
Can you survive without oxygen for 22 minutes? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, who say yes? Because I'm about to give you an extra credit project. Who say yes?
It was me.
All right, Brendan, so here's your opportunity to prove me wrong. Okay, so what I want you to do is just fill up the tub with water and stick your head in it for 22 minutes, 2 camera angles, underwater and above water, and record it for 22 minutes and check to see what happens. So how do you suppose this guy, you're not going to be able to survive it, so you don't really need to do it, but how do you suppose this guy survived for 22
Appreciate
minutes without oxygen? Say it again?
I appreciate that. You telling me not to do it. I was about to go do it.
Because you're not going to be able to survive it. So what's the use? You know better than that. So how do you think this guy survived without 22 minutes? Without 22 minutes. How did he survive without oxygen for 22 minutes?
There was like an air bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, who said that? Okay.
Guadalupe.
Experiment Guadalupe. Instead of Brendan doing it, you actually improve the scenario. Air bubble, right? That's what you want to do. All right, says same thing for 22 minutes. Create an air bubble. The way to do it is just get a glass, turn it upside down, make sure that there's air in it, and stick it into water. And then put your head underneath, put your nose into the air bubble, and breathe it for 22 minutes. Check to see what happens. Do you think you can survive? Oh, better yet, I mean, why waste all that water? You guys are in Visalia. It's not like Chicago. Why don't you guys get like a bag, plastic bag, and just wrap it around your head and make sure that there's enough air in it, and then tie it around your neck really tight so the air is not escaping. Just keep it there for 22 minutes. Do you think you're going to be able to survive that? Guys, it's not survivable. You cannot survive 22 minutes using an air bubble. So how do you suppose this guy survived? How did the miracle happen? I want to show you something.
On the anniversary of Houdini's death, escape gas.
All right. What's the density of air? It's about 1. What's the density of water? It's about 1,000. If you put air into water, what's going to happen? It just bubbles up immediately. What would happen if you were to put air into wet concrete, which is about 2,000?
Now, Bill Shirk is dressed,
Bubbles up even faster.
gasping for air.
How much air do you think inside? None. There's nothing on the inside. There's no air bubble, guys.
As he
Just a myth.
each precious
So, how did this guy survive for 22 minutes? 22 minutes without air.
moment draws his life closer to an end to revive him.
Well, I was actually underground with a collapse for over 22 minutes.
All right, so how did he survive? Any ideas? Any suggestions?
He's trained.
You can train yourself to survive up to, I don't know how long. I'm not sure if you can survive 22 minutes. Our illusionist artist, what's his name? David Blaine, I think he survived up to 8 minutes.
Does it
Yeah.
have to do with the box that he's in, since there's like no mass to it, just him?
Okay, Haley, you're saying something interesting. Explain. You're onto something.
Like, since it's an empty box and he's the only one that has, like, I don't know.
Okay, guys, let me ask you this question. What is this guy's profession? What does he do for a living?